let's switch gears a second and go to Powerless.
Yeah.
What's Powerless about, and how did that kind of come to be?
Yeah, so this one I am way excited about. So Powerless is about these two identical twin brothers, one named Lester, and one of the brothers has an encounter with an alien who gives him superpowers. And so instantly, overnight, his brother is the most famous person in the world, is the only superhero in the world. Everybody loves and adores him. And our story follows his brother Les, who is now feeling like a complete loser. Thinks that he is totally worthless because, of course, he just compares himself to his brother, who is genetically identical to him. And we see that he's going to really have to fight to realize that you can become anything that you want if you're willing to pay that price. But people get... The story that I really wanted to tell was basically Batman versus Superman, but at a different age. So these kids are 14, and it's obviously a very tumultuous time in their lives where people's sense of identity is just beginning to solidify. And one person is given something and does not have to work for it, and the other person has to work for everything they have. And to see that, really develop, and to see him over the course of the book figure out who he is, define who he is, let go of the bitterness, you know what I mean, and see what he really can do himself, but also to leverage the bitterness and the anger as Batman has, right? And that's why Batman is so powerful and is so iconic. And I used to really not like Superman, and I was just all a Batman dude because it was the thing that I could do, right? Like I could go work and study and, become something instead of worrying about who I am. I could just focus entirely on becoming. And so that always lit me on fire. And then one day I realized, so going back to my journey as an entrepreneur, so I set out to get rich, right? I just want to make the money to build a studio. That's it. I'm not thinking about what companies, just technology, get rich. Yep, I'm all for it. And pursuing just chasing money for about 6.5 years before my wife finally pulled me aside and said, look, this is now damaging our marriage, because I was just working around the clock and doing something I didn't care about. And I realized, all right, the struggle is guaranteed, the success is not. So I need to do something that I love. I need to tap into my passion. And that's when the metaphor of Superman and the yellow sun being just a metaphor for passion. Mm-hmm. And I thought, when I don't have passion, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just your average mortal. But when I have passion, it's like Superman and his yellow sun. And I really feel that I'm capable of more than the next person because I'm so on fire with belief and excitement, and I'm doing something that gives me more energy than it takes. And all of that stuff is just super important. So at that moment, I realized this is why people tell you to follow your passion. It's not for some BS reason. It gives you energy. Like, it gives you this ability to push when things are getting hard, to find a path when everybody else has given up, to just go that little bit extra. And by the way, all the time, having a good time. And so I get a lot of flack socially for how much I work. And my thing is, I get it, man. If I didn't love what I was doing, then throw shade. 1,000%, because it would be a crazy way to live. But I've done that. I've chased money. I've come out emotionally bankrupt. I've rejected that and said, okay, I'm only going to do things that I'm passionate about, that create value in other people's lives, that build community, all that. And from that, literally from me rejecting money and saying, I'm never going to make another decision based on money, I end up building the $1 billion company. Okay. So that comes out of this rejection of money, ironically. So I know what it's like to be in that dark place. And I know what it's like to create something beautiful in your life and then want to spend time in that creation. And so comic creators are going to get this because they work an extraordinary number of hours. They sacrifice a lot in their personal life to make something they believe in. And as long as you have that belief, then it gets interesting. Now, having said that, so that's the Superman side. On the other side of all of this is the darkness. And the darkness, say what you will, but it will come to your rescue in times of the most acute pain and suffering. And there was a study done. I love the study. They wanted to see how long people could endure pain. So they would make them submerge their arm in a bucket of ice water and leave it there as long as they can. And they get a baseline. They say, okay, this is how long people can do it. Then they had the next group come in and submerge their arm with one difference. They said, when you're about to pull it out, when it hurts so much you don't think you can go on, we want you to express rage, anger. You can swear, you can yell, you can do whatever you want. They could keep their arm in for 30% longer just by expressing rage. And that's like that energy, that like neurochemistry of anger, frustration, rage, it's useful. You don't want to live there. And I always tell people never spend more than 20% of your time looking at negative stuff. Like you want to spend 80% of your time living in the beautiful things, the positive things, 1,000%. But to know that there is that thing, that reserve tank that you can lean on when things get really hard, and that's our boy Batman. Like that's super powerful. And so in this story, and this is definitely a YA book, this is aimed at a younger audience, but in this story, we're going to be dealing with that it's rad to have things that are given to you. Absolutely rad. And all of us have something where we get disproportionate wins. But you can also build yourself into anything. And then I really want to deal with, dude, so the audience listening to this probably has no idea who I am, what my context is, nothing. But on social, I, because of my background, building businesses and stuff, I have a social following, and it is all about empowerment. It's all about changing your own life and what you can do, and how I took myself from scrounging my couch cushions to find enough change to put gas in my car, which is a real story, to building companies and having the kind of financial success that, you know, I had dreamed of. And so on that side of things, it's like a lot of people, a terrifying number of people, come up to me and say either I am currently contemplating suicide, or I was contemplating suicide until I encountered your content. And I want to deal with that. I want to deal with how real that is. And I want to deal with like this kid, like imagine that for a second. Like you're already 14 and you're feeling kind of roughed up just by the world. And all of a sudden your brother is literally the coolest human on the planet and can do things that nobody else can do. And you're genetically identical. And but for some fluke where he encountered something that you did not, he is popular, beloved, capable, just truly extraordinary. And you're not. And what I want people to understand is this is a story for real. He's not capable. He is less than. And this is about him discovering that he can become whatever he wants, to love himself where he's at enough that he can become the person he wants to become. But it is very okay to want more, to push yourself, to see just how far you can go. And so ultimately, dealing on his side is going to be watching him walk that balance, because sometimes people lean into the darkness too much and it becomes bitterness and it becomes anger and hatred, either of yourself or of your brother or whatever. But it can be something beautiful of, don't think about you, your brother. Think about, I have a set of skills that I want to acquire that will allow me to help someone. Focus on the help, right? Focus on whose lives you want to touch. And that's even true. And part of the reason that I really want to deal with that is that's like the driving force in my life. So my wife and I, when we left Quest, when we exited that company, we literally could have bought an island and retired. And we knew that that wasn't what we wanted, that what we wanted was to build something that mattered. And you were talking about this earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt, but you were talking about how, all right, all this joblessness is going to come and all that, but ultimately, like, needs are going to be taken care of and all that. But the most important need will never, ever be automatically taken care of, and that's meaning and purpose.
Absolutely.
And so what this story ultimately is going to be about is, like, how does this kid find meaning and purpose? Like, how does he build himself back up and stop comparing himself to his brother and realize he can touch lives, do extraordinary things as a human, as a mortal, with no extra gifts other than discipline and hard work and love and looking at beautiful stuff and just saying, I'm, you know, and we'll really have to deal with this in the book because I don't want to cheapen it. And I'm saying this because I don't want to cheapen it to the point where I don't know where it's going to end up. I don't know yet what the payoff of that struggle will be, what price he will have to pay first, because he'll lean into the darkness in the beginning, and that's going to be what gets him going. And then it's going to be a question of how beautiful a place can he take himself to. So anyway, this idea gets me so excited, dude. I love this. I think that so many people struggle with it.
I love it. Your excitement and your passion is so contagious. I feel excited and passionate about it, and I'm ready for it. You know,
Awesome.
I truly believe that I've grown and changed my life in a lot of ways many times over because it's a learned skill. You're able to learn and grow and push through things and say, okay, this didn't work. How about this? How about this? And then to finally get to success that's what it takes.
For sure.
You have to go through those failures, and a lot of people don't understand that to get there. But you have to go. It's a learning process. A lot of people come into something and go, didn't work out, and that's it. That's the end of the story. But there's so much more. You you either work hard enough that it turns into something, or you abandon it and find something that you're willing to work hard enough that you have that passion and that commitment and you continue it.
1000%.